Hello, everyone. This is the Knowledge Bolide weekly hangout for July 21st. We are starting with a beautiful backyard scene from one of the Knowledge Bolide crew members, Cameron Smith. He is in Alpine, Alabama, and this is the beautiful view he gets to look at every day. And I just thought that was way more beautiful than seeing my face for the opening of tonight's hangout. So thank you very much, Cameron. I appreciate you allowing me to steal the beauty of Alabama for the opening of tonight's hangout, our 59th in a row. Tonight we have a few topics that we want to discuss. Actually based on some viewer comments. So if you're watching the Hangouts on YouTube and you enjoy what you see and you have a question, feel free to join us live. In the description of every video is how to join us live. And you can also ask a detailed question in the comments, and we'll try to get to it if it makes sense and if it's well thought out, to be honest with you. So some of the comments and questions we had were from the group about storing meteorites, our own collections, and how to keep them away from the aggressive Earth environment full of nasty moisture and oxygen. And then also we had the questions from the viewers were about XRF, X-ray fluorescence testing. I'm drawing a blank, but XRF testing and how to get that done, what it means, and how to kind of interpolate some of the data you get from the XRF results or any other test results that you may be using, whether it's a dissolution test or something. And then also people were asking, hey, you know, they love the Knowledge Bolide. There's a lot of information, but how do I learn more? So we're going to check in with our Doc Brown, and he's going to have some book recommendations later on. But also hopefully some of us can also recommend some e-learning. So if there's some online classes that you've seen, online content providers that you enjoy that deal with meteorites, that deal with geochemistry, those type of things, feel free to make recommendations. Does anyone have anything they'd like to start off the show and tell with? If not, I'm going to jump right into the first topic, which is storing meteorites. You know, we all know we need to keep our meteorites in a somewhat enclosed environment. I'm fortunate. I live in Arizona where the humidity is rather low, but I still take precautions. I have my meteorites in a humidity, an enclosed cabinet. It's not sealed. I have weather stripping around it and desiccant in there. And I want to talk about the desiccant as well. So this is open up conversation. Does anyone have any comments on what they do with their collections to keep them dry and safe, especially for carbonaceous ones?
Yeah, well, I can kind of kick off with a general discussion. So, you know, for the most part, moisture, you know, in terms of relative humidity is the thing that causes problems. For carbonaceous chondrites, we actually have a little bit of the opposite problem in that when carbonaceous chondrites are very fresh and fall, they contain some amount of water. And if they're in a very, very dry environment, you can get some deep cracking in very fresh carbonaceous chondrites from the water leaving the stone. You know, for home collections, we really don't have the facilities to be able to store those at some, you know, preset humidity level. But in general, we want to keep humidity away from meteorites because not all meteorites, but many, most, probably 95+% contain iron in the metallic state. Iron loves oxygen, loves to rust. Mm-hmm. So people have been using, you know, normal wooden cabinets with, you know, glass windows and such, with desiccants, and you have to be careful of the desiccants and avoid the ones that contain chlorine. They generally have a chemical agent in them that changes color with humidity, and no, you'll have to spot me here. I've
the ones that change color it's really helpful because you don't have to just go on your calendar date. You get a physical reminder when you look at it and you see that it's gone from blue to clear, and that's really the color you want. You want to buy the blue ones that go clear once they're all dried out. We'll talk about that process, but once you dry them out, they should be a really, really rich royal blue. And then as they get moister, the color goes away. There is orange ones that either go from clear to orange or orange to clear. But those are the ones that Pat was warning against because they contain chloride.
Yeah, it's chlorine bound up in some salt. So that's a real concern. The normal wooden cabinets have some degree of seal to them, not great sealing, and one can certainly go back and add weather stripping and those sort of things to an existing cabinet. Another option is a sealed enclosure, and the ones that I've seen people use, Dustin has one and a few others have them as well, have they're a polycarbonate sort of plastic body with a hinged door with a seal around it. And so they can be used with the same desiccants as Topher described, or you can buy a model that has an electronic humidity remover, and they generally have either an analog or a digital relative humidity meter, and you can monitor that progress. In preparation for controlling humidity, I purchased some of these small thermometer hygrometer rigs off of Amazon, and
very cheap too,
very inexpensive. They were on the order of $2 or $3 a piece, so a package of 10 of them was a little over $20. There is another possibility. I've heard people talk about it, not seen somebody actually use it, but in very, very humid environments like the South, where Cameron is, cameras can wind up getting mold inside the lenses. So it's desirable to store those with low humidity. And there are a number of pretty attractive glass front cabinets for lenses that have multiple shelves that I've heard of people using. I've not actually seen somebody use one, but that may be another possibility too. And they are considerably less expensive than the polycarbonate boxes with a seal on the door.
Because with those, you're trying to get the environment out of a small case versus create an entire case that is open to the environment, close to the environment, and be able to purge itself of the moisture. So I'm going to highlight one thing I know that you shouldn't use, and then I'm going to kick it over to Mike Kelly, because he is a very intelligent man, and he has his camera set up. So one thing I do not recommend you do is, because people also use gun safes for meteorites and gun enclosures for meteorites, because they're normally wanting to be kept securely and dry. In gun cabinets, sometimes people use drying units that are electric heaters. Basically, it's a little metal rod that heats up, and the radiant heat dries the air that way. That's not preferable for meteorites, and I don't prefer it for safety either. So, Mike Kelly. There you are.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Hey, I just wanted to clarify. So, Topher, it's the other way around. The blue desiccant, and I actually have a bunch of that. That was the original how I bought. The blue to pink is the one that contains cobalt, and it's cobalt chloride. So Pat's right, it's a salt. So that one, I mean, it's safe. You just don't want it on the meteorites. So the orange one is fine for everything, and that's like when I was researching the second batch I bought. Like I guess that's like the European, food friendly version that they said. So you're talking about storage. So what I do is I double store. So I got glass containers with desiccant in them with a seal on it. And then that's all sitting inside of a larger Sterilite container with more desiccant. And just like Pat has, a cheap sensor that tells me what the humidity is. So you can see I'm sitting at 10% right now. And to be honest with you, I have a feeling that that's probably the low end of what the sensor will tell you, because that's all of the irons and pallasites, and even the things like Ishaevo, which has a lot of metal in it for a carbonaceous, are all sitting in there, and that's like 5 pounds of rocks and 6 pounds of desiccant.
So that raises the question of what humidity level should we like target for like irons or something?
0.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so I know because Pat mentioned the cabinets that are used for lenses, which I'm a little familiar with, and they only go down to about 30% humidity.
Yeah. When I was at ASU, their vault is kept, I think, in the single digits.
Yeah.
So Mike, thank you very much for clarifying that. I don't know if you could see that. If you guys can see my screen.
Yep.
But I had, after we had this conversation online, I had bought, oh, it's backwards. I had bought this desiccant. It's called Lot Fancy, but it's the food safe version, and it's orange, and the orange beads actually turn almost clear or green.
Yeah, it goes orange to green.
Yeah, so, and I was about to go rip all the desiccant out of my cabinet.
I can't switch cameras right now because I'm taking notes. I'm very happy to be corrected, because that means I need to purge my cabinet as well.
And like I said, it's really just an issue if like you're doing like the loose beads packed in with the meteorites, in which case you have the color indicating blue, which is cobalt chloride, like touching the meteorite, where you can get like ion exchange. But yeah, I mean, I've successfully had the blue desiccant inside of my inner containers, and I still use it inside my inner containers because it's not touching any of the pieces. And I have really had zero issue with rust. And the longest pieces, I mean, I've only been at it for 3 years, but the longest pieces have been sitting in there with them for 3 years. No issues. Again, non-contact.
Awesome. All right. Let me see if I can switch my audio real quick, and I want to show you what I do in my cabinet. All right, so this is my cabinet, and I don't have it done. I'm not going to tell you I have it done the best way, but I'm just going to show you what I have in mind and the way it's done. First off, it's a pretty tight cabinet. There's not a whole lot of loose or there's no air in between, and it closes pretty tightly. I have this entire bead with actually 2 different depths of weather stripping, all the way down to the bottom, and it weather strips on the bottom as well, where it closes. Behind like a iron like this, you'll find a hemp bag full of desiccant.
Yeah.
Each one has like a pound in it or something like that. And it's nice that you just hide it behind a big iron, or you use it there as a display for your meteorite, which is probably going against Michael's rule. When you have them in hemp bags, they breathe really, really easily. So it's just as good as having it out in the open as far as I'm concerned. And it's way better than having it in a can. Now I need to redo my my desiccant. We're sitting really high, and I don't think that's really legit, to be honest with you. These things after a while start giving you funky numbers. Right here it's 44, but right there it's 39.
Yeah.
So And then as you come up behind Abba Panu, you'll see Abba Panu sitting on another bag. We got a big Sericho slice sitting on another bag, or at least hiding a bag. So pretty much every shelf has its own bag.
Yep.
And some shelves have them on both sides. Well, actually, just the bottom one has it on that side. I try to keep this side empty. So when you look at the cabinet, you don't see a bunch of bags sticking out. But there's also one other thing that's really important. And let me see if I can do this. Can you guys see that, or is it upside down?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Those are anti-corrosive emitters. So they emit anti-corrosive or corrosive inhibitors. And they're good for like 2 years. So you put them up in a cabinet, you measure your square footage or your cubic footage, and you put, my cabinet required 2 of them. But
Nice.
I'm not going for the museum. I'm sorry, I'm not going for the lab quality stuff. Like, here's my slice of Allende just sitting out to the world. You know, there's not really much I can do about that. But I also have all my pallasites out as well. I don't have those in frames in these. That's a chondrite. But you don't want to put your pallasites or metal iron slices in those membrane frames, because it keeps whatever moisture is in there, keeps it right on the surface, touching the meteorite.
Right.
I could just watch this go all day, guys. This is what I was saying last week. Whenever I'm stressed out, I just come and stare right there. Usually does the job. So, and then most of my carbonaceous ones are okay to put in those frames because there's no metal to interact with. So you'll see a lot of my carbonaceous ones are in those frames.
I actually have had a little bit of trouble with CV3s. The reduced CV3s will have a little metal in them, and I've actually experienced a tiny bit of rust in those contact membrane cases. So I'd be careful of those for CV3s.
Oh, awesome. Great to know that. Thank you. All right. We are checking in. Those hard edits like that, where we jump to a new screen, gives YouTube a nice place to insert an ad. So we are checking in right now. Oh, which reminds me, guys, let's trick YouTube into thinking that we're better than we are. Everyone, when you're watching this, stop, take a second, and drop a like on it, please. Tell the algorithm that we're cool for doing this 59 weeks in a row. We actually have a guest video today by Jules, and I believe there's no audio, which is correct, Jules?
Yeah, there's no audio.
Awesome. Okay, we love that, because we usually, when we watch videos, we talk over the narration. We have to watch them again and again and again. So let's just enjoy some of the work that, oh, look at that.
Yep, that was my t-shirt that I got for my birthday.
For Mother's Day?
No, for my birthday.
Birthday, I was going to say.
For my birthday. And no, it's one of my birthday meteorites. It's a 340 grams of unclassified NWA.
Wow.
It is a fantastic meteorite. It did not fit in my 6-inch saw the way that I put it in my vise. It made it maybe almost 1/4 of an inch too tall. So after I had a little tobacco with the first slice, I cut it freehand with the second slice, which I don't ever recommend doing if your name is Julie or Jules. So the rest of it, I did cut. I cut 2 slices off of it. I'm going to wait and be patient to slice the rest of it so I can do it properly, because in sanding it down to get it to so you can actually look at it. Does it look blurry to you on your screen?
No.
Oh, it looks
Video?
sharp here.
Okay, good. Okay, it must be my internet. Sorry. The way I cut it, there was so many marks in it. I lost 24 grams just getting it, my slices flat.
Man.
And that was my own fault because I thought, well, I can do this. And yeah, no, I could not.
It's a learning process.
Yep. Yep.
That,
And go ahead.
sorry, that surface that you were just showing there was really beautiful. A mega chondrule in there. And yeah, okay.
This
One here.
We're not, there we go. Where was that megachondral? This rock has a lot in it.
It does.
And it's got some, yeah. I don't know that one was it. Okay.
Great photography.
It might be the very last photo.
Yeah, here we go. This one here. Yeah, so there's a couple of interesting things. There's a big megachondrule there that Topher's on, and I'll bet that is a barred olivine chondrule. There's a nice armored chondrule in the upper left. And then in the far lower right, that thing kind of looks like a metal grain. That's not a metal grain. That is FES. That's iron sulfide or troilite. And you can, it's reflective and kind of metallic looking like hematite is. But you can, in this beautiful photo, you can tell really easily the metal is nice and bright and white colored, and that sulfide grain is darker colored.
That's really good to know, because I cut things and I wish that I could look at that and be like, okay, this is what this is, and just the chemistry of it. That's what I'm lacking, is the chemistry of it.
Well, that's nothing that a lot of money won't solve, and I'll show you some books you can buy.
Okay.
Topher's highlighting a megachondrule there as well.
This is gorgeous.
Yeah. And the metal flakes are very pretty in this one. And in the upper right, there's a armored chondrule near the edge there.
Right up on the edge, you got a megachondrule here. There's actually some really, really dark chondrules as well. And then, like we said, there's some that look like barred olivine chondrules. Yeah, just some. You can get lost in that one.
Yeah. That is a beautiful.
And the cool thing is that the outside of this meteorite is fantastic. There's so much you can see on it.
There's that one of the chondrules right there.
So for me, it makes it super neat to be able to see it also on the outside besides the polished. And it's brought up to, what is it, 325 I stopped at. I start at 220, and I don't use, I use not the hard diamond sanders. Chris, help me out.
Silicon carbide paper?
No, I use my slant cabber for it. But there's the two different sandy.
Are you talking the diamond flat plates for like a flat lap?
Yes. Sorry, I lost it for a minute there. The diamond ones are too hard and they scratch everything. So I start out at a 220 of the other kind, because it seems like it.
You using silicon carbide?
I don't know. I gotta shut up now. Relax. Sorry. I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, whatever you're doing, it's right. You're getting great results.
I just know that there's one type of lap that I don't use anymore on the meteorites, because it creates a lot more scratches for
Yeah.
me to take out in the next step?
The
there's different
the
materials.
diamond laps, I'm sorry, the diamond laps, that they're all made in China now, the reasonably priced ones, and they will oftentimes have one or two bigger diamond grains in them, and until they're broken in, they will tend to make scratches. After you've used them for a while, it knocks down the high points, and you can get a better finish. The diamond ones cut quicker than silicon carbide, but whatever you're doing is working very nicely. That's a beautiful.
I don't even know.
finished base.
I don't even know what I'm looking at. I mean, if you look at this, it has beautiful areas. This dark tan area is consistent throughout to having really tight chondrules, like type 3 and 4 maybe. And it's everywhere that tan material is. You see chondrules. Whereas where this off greenish white is, it looks like, you know, like it has a texture almost like barred olivine, or like looking like human brain.
Yeah, the one right up at the top is a large chondrule.
But these right here are not. There's a chondrule in this one right here.
Right. Yeah, the brown color may be rust staining. But yeah, the chondrules are much more visible there. This one's an excellent candidate for reflected cross polarized light. You'll see a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And once I learn how to do that, I'll take that picture for you. For some reason, I'm unable to make that effect, or I haven't looked into it enough to be able to do it.
Yeah, well, there's a big learning curve on all this stuff, and you can't do it all at once.
I wish. But it was a fun one to cut. It was fantastic to cut. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Once I get a bigger saw and make more slices and see what else is in it, it's pretty cool. That's fun.
Amazing. Wow.
That's my show and tell for the day.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan, Jules. Wow. Yeah, there she is. Now, there was one picture in this stack that showed there it is, that greenish stuff.
Yep.
That's not meteoritic. I
No.
think, yeah. Well, I wanted to point it out to people just in case. I think you and I had a conversation, or maybe it was on a hangout where we discussed this. We believe that's the number 2 written on this rock in some type of marker in Africa. So that is a cool thing to leave on there, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna take it off, and I thought, no, I'm gonna leave it on there. And actually, I left it so it will be on the bottom of my slices. So then maybe a bunch of people could get them, and then we could all match them up. I don't know. We'd all have that. You know, somebody found the meteorite, wrote the number 2 on it. I thought that was super cool, and I thought I'd leave it on there. So I like it.
Now, this is what I want to discuss right here
too. Yeah, so that's a chondrule that got melted in half by the fusion crust, and at the upper right of that chondrule, you can see some of the black fusion crust that's hung in there. And then a little on the left at 9 o'clock. Yeah, so those bits are fusion crust, and yeah, that's
all of this black back here. Any of this black material that you see is all then fusion crust.
Yes, I think that's true.
That's a beautiful photo.
Yeah, it is.
Just with my phone.
Jeez, yeah.
So Jules, I cut a very, very similar stone to what I'm probably not up right now, but I cut a very similar stone to the one that you cut. And just for contrast, if in a minute Topher can bring me up, I will So this one I cut and I took to 1200 grit on diamond lap wheels.
Okay.
But
Wow.
it is, can you see that?
I can see it. Yeah. That's beautiful.
So this is very similar to the one you cut. And let me see if I can get like kind of the sheen on it. But I didn't take it past 1200. So I have about 5 discs, and those are, I want to say it starts at like 250 and then goes to like 400 something, 600, 800, 1200. But anyway, I just wanted to give you some kind of contrast to what you're doing. So this is straight diamond lap wheels.
So shiny.
And one of the things that I've learned is some stones you can take to a fine polish, and we kind of talked about this off the recording, but you can take to a really fine polish and they almost look like glass. Other stones you don't want to take that fine, because you'll actually lose some of the definition of the little intricate color differences, and it just kind of melds together and just looks like a dark glass. But this one right here is 1200 on a diamond lap.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. I haven't gotten up that high yet. It takes a lot of time. You gotta have a lot of time to get it up that high.
It does.
Took 4.5 billion years to get where it was.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate. I think that actually may be the same stone. I had like 4 or 5 of them. But yeah, thanks for sharing that video with us.
You're welcome.
Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
James Shelton has his hand up for some show and tell. So there you are, James.
Hi. Years ago in the Burnham, Kansas strewn field, there was a museum, and it was run by a retired chemist from Monsanto. And the museum had regular hours, and he had a lot of field trips from schools. And then he went to appointments only, and that's when I met him. But now it's closed. But when I had a chance to talk to him, we were talking about preservation of the pallasites, and he pointed me toward this material. It's called a molecular sieve. Let me get it here. And he said, be sure and get 4A. And what it looks like is little ceramic beads like this. And you can either just pour these in the, I get these waterproof tubs from Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's, and they have a seal around the top. And I put some of this in the bottom, and it seals it up. I put one of the little hygrometer thermometers like Pat showed, put one of those in there. I can get down to about 14% here in Missouri. So if anybody's in it, this can be regenerated too. I've never had to do it. I've only used about half the bottle of it.
Oh, we need someone with a tie at Sigmund Aldrich, the big chemical company, to get us some of that stuff. Consolidated Chemical Molecular Sieve 4A.
Yeah, awesome. He said be sure to get 4A, and because he was a chemist, I did what he said, and I've never had any problem.
That's fantastic. Yeah, good to know. I'm gonna stick with you on camera for 1 second, if you don't mind.
Sure.
There. Now we're both together, sharing the same cyberspace. James, I appreciate you joining the Hangouts Weekly and sharing what you know and what you have. You also were generous with a donation to Daniel Sheikh and his move to Portland to go to school. And he actually just got his student ID card 2 days ago. So I was really pumped to see that. It's my distinct pleasure on behalf of Mr. Daniel Sheikh. When he announced it on the Hangout, I don't think people remembered it, but he announced that someone randomly will be drawn for a free meteorite classification done by him for someone who donated. So
that's wonderful.
I guess you learned about that Daniel, us trying to get together and help Daniel on one of the hangouts, and it spurred you to action. Well, you are the winner, and congratulations.
Congrats, James.
Very good.
Thank you.
So I got to ask you, now that you're on the hot seat, you got a sexy rock that needs classification?
I do.
Oh, really?
I have an NWA 1 kilogram that needs to be classified. So.
Right on. I'll tell you what, feel free to reach out to Daniel Sheikh directly. He's on Facebook. If you'd like, I can get his email for you as well. Just hook me up. Please. If you can't get a hold of him, okay? Either way, and we'll get you hooked up with him. But congratulations, you're going to be a classified mass holder, or you're going to be a born again class holder. Hey, we were talking about Desiccant and everything. So I understand, Art, you have a question or a comment regarding the Desiccant?
Well, when I was in the service, when we used to take the jet engines out of the large containers, they would have Desiccant bags all over the place inside the engine container. And these bags give some kind of description, almost look like a sock that was filled with a, it looked like it was cork or something to me, but like speedy dry or kitty litter. And in our shop, once we were configuring the engine to get it ready for installation in an aircraft, we had a metal box with a 100-watt light bulb inside of it. We would take these Desiccant bags and we would put them in this metal box with that light bulb on. And in a couple of days, it seemed to be dried out, but we had no gauge to actually test to see if most of the humidity and moisture had been drawn out by that 100-watt light bulb. And I was just thinking, I was going to say DIY, do it yourself on the cheap, get yourself a little cloth sack and fill it with kitty litter or speedy dry, because they absorb. But, I don't know what people would think of that. And if they break open, they make a mess.
Yeah, no, I will tell you, we are talking about expensive meteorites, and I'm trying to keep them as safe and uncontaminated as possible. So I'm only using stuff that's manufactured in labs for the purpose of keeping an environment stable.
I think it's interesting that Arthur brought up kitty litter, because when we visited ASU, I asked Dr. Lawrence Garvey about, the best desiccant and stuff like that. And he actually mentioned kitty litter.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. I am not turning my meteorite cabinet into a litter box. Sorry, Lawrence. He said I can call him Lawrence, so I'm sorry. I agree to disagree on that one, Lawrence. I'll tell you what I do. Well, I'm not going to poo-poo on Lawrence, but I'm not going to use it right now. I will tell you what I did do as a little scientific experiment, because I wanted to. I do the color changing desiccant, and I put a bunch in there, and when I take it out, it takes hours, because I run it through my dehydrator at the lowest temperature, but my dehydrator only runs for a half hour at a time. So I need to get up, circulate the bags, rotate them around, make sure all the surfaces are exposed, and then rerun it for another 30 minutes. And then I move 6 pounds through there. It takes a few hours. What I did is, one time I decided I wanted to see how effective this really is. I'm a science guy. I love numbers. So I weighed all my desiccant in the bags before I dried it out. I completely dried them out, and then I reweighed them. Then I took my scale, I tared it out and added that much weight in water. Let me just tell you, do it yourself and then tell me if you don't want to put a reminder in your calendar every 3 months to change your desiccant, because I poured the water in there and it wasn't a shot glass. It was a gulper. So yeah, I was blown away. And you know, like I said, I live in Arizona. You know, I shouldn't have an issue.
No.
But I did want to do one little callback to thank Daniel very much for making that classification as a prize and make it available to everyone, but announce it on the Knowledge Bolide. And to be greedy and honest about it and selfish, I'm so glad one of the Knowledge Bolide guys won, because it was open to anyone who donated. But you know, I'm really glad that it's in family, if you know what I mean. Hey, Mike. Ready for show and tell a little bit, and then Roberto after this.
How's everyone doing?
Real well.
So
Good, Michael.
Turn the camera around and thank Cameron, because he showed off his Winchcombe last week, and I got mine in the mail since I went to his place first. So there's my little bit.
Nice.
And what was really nice was, along with it, he sent a nice little jar of Canyon Diablo from inside the crater, sand collected before it was illegal to go down in the crater and do such things. So I took a magnet to that the other day, and it's got a bunch of particles in there that attracted a magnet. So I want to fish those out and see if they're high metal basalts or if they're actual spheroids, which I got a couple dangerous spheroids to compare them to. So looking forward to seeing what comes out of there.
Cool. Please keep us up to date on that.
Yeah, we'll do. And then there's a what I consider to be a not quite so run of the mill Sericho slice. So it's got decent green olivines in it.
Nice.
What drew me to this slice was that big old run of chromite running right down the middle of it there.
Wow.
So that's a combination of iron oxides and chromium oxides in there in the spinel family of minerals. So you can see there, it's kind of got an interesting shape to it, and it's kind of, I guess, I don't know, didn't play well with the olivines because there's no olivines sitting around it.
That's really interesting.
Cool.
So, and this is going to be a fun slice because I mean, it's you know, it's from China and it's wire sawed and heavily epoxied. And there's like a little, you can see the catch right there. There's a little scratch across the face of it under there, along with a couple of micro bubbles. So I'm going to be working on that sometime in the near future to make that all go away.
Wow. But that is gorgeous though.
Absolutely.
I know you're into the science and then your beauty of that dark strike, but I'm telling you that olivine over there on the end does not look like Sericho.
Yeah, there was you know, I was looking for a piece that had both good, nice green olivines in it and also a big chromite inclusion. So finally, I've probably watched you know, like 5,000 Sericho slices go by on eBay, waiting for the one that was the right price and the right look and the right size. So
nice, yeah. Well,
there's this one, and there's one more to come. But the other thing I wanted to show was I don't take this box out too often. So
ooh,
when you find a box with a little hammer on it, it has to be your hammer box.
That is cool.
So
can you give a real quick description of a definition of a hammer, please?
Sure. So, you know, a hammer stone is a meteorite that falls and hits a man-made object. So be it a road, a car, a house, a mailbox, you know, they hit all sorts of things, a fence. So those are hammers. and a fall that has a hammer in it. The stone is a hammer stone, and some people call the falls the hammer falls. But one of the things that I've been collecting are specifically ones that have hit cars. So I showed some of these off before. That's St. Louis. I hit a moving car in St. Louis. And again, there's not too much of that one around. And that was previously my oldest car hitting hammer as 1950. Everybody knows Peekskill. Absolute classic. Warden, Illinois. Park Forest with a little bit of the glass.
Nice.
Then I have Drevel, which is in France, and hit a car allegedly. But the one that I just got, and we'll see if anyone
Mike,
can.
What is in there?
So that is a bit of the hammerstone along with the roof tile of the house it hit. So this was from the house hitting piece, not the car hitting piece.
Slick. Nice.
So it's a little bit of a clay roof tile, 2 little bits of clay roof tile. But like I said, I don't get to add to that box too often. I got a piece in that hit a car in, let me see if I can get it right, 1938. Any ideas?
1938.
Benld.
So cars weren't around all that long in 1938, right?
Right.
So this.
Someone said Branhelm or something. Yeah, someone.
Benld. Yep.
Yeah, someone said that. Who guessed?
That was me.
Oh,
Roberto.
Nice, Roberto.
Nice, Roberto. Yep. 1938, September 29th. This punched through Edward McCain's garage where he habitually protected his car so it wouldn't be exposed. Oops.
The irony.
Yes, yes. The cosmic irony of it is not lost. So it went through his garage roof, which is just a tar paper roof, went through the roof of his Pontiac coupe, went through the seat, went through the floor, rebounded off of his muffler, and lodged itself back in the seat of his car.
Oh.
But you can see there's less than 2 kilograms of that in the world.
Wow.
So I was quite happy with my 45 milligrams of it.
Mike,
just
do you know if that was a single stone?
I do believe that was a single stone. Yes.
Oh, that's sexy.
So.
Oh my God, because there's always been a little confusion. I don't know. Because let's say like Kulong is a well-known carbonaceous hammer fall, but only one of the stones or 2 of the stones, whatever, hit a building. So those are the hammer stones, but it's a hammer fall. So that's why, I don't know. I just wanted to comment on that a little bit because not every, Vinales was a hammer fall, and Aguas Zarcas was also a hammer fall, but not every stone or every sample is a piece of the hammer stone itself.
Yes, and like I said, there you were talking about Vinales and Aguas Zarcas, and I do collect those, and I do. If they are a fall, they go in this box. If they are specifically a hammer stone, they definitely go in this box, and I also annotate in my catalog that they are specifically from a piece that is the actual hammerstone. So there you see pre-rain marina roof hammerstone.
Yes.
That should look familiar, Topher.
Yeah, I was going to say that does. Yeah, so that piece is actually from the stone that went through the marina's roof and is worth 10 times more than any other Aguas Zarcas that happened to be from the same fall on the same day that didn't hit the building. So
I'll turn it over to Roberto.
Awesome. Hey, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, love showing stuff off.
Roberto, if you can turn your camera on, I'll highlight you.
What's up?
There we go. Oh,
Hey,
I'd rather be meteorite hunting.
How's it going, guys?
Going well, buddy.
So one of the things I wanted to show off was actually my background today. It's a 2 kilogram Campo, and as you can see, it's like not your average Campo. Most Campos are like shapeless blobs. This one's got reggies and all that other good stuff in it.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Now
I-
let me go
I
ahead.
saw your pictures on Facebook at all kinds of angles, and it's beautiful, dude.
Oh yeah, thank you. So let me see if I can. How do I? All right.
To ask you a question.
Yeah, what's up? What's your question?
I heard a couple of years ago, maybe it was just a year ago, that they had a second Campo strewn field found at a higher altitude. Do you know anything about that?
I have heard of it. And when you go on like eBay and stuff like that, you'll see pieces that are said to be from that location. But I haven't really looked into it a whole lot. The Campo I just showed off came from an old collection.
Are you talking about Las Palmas?
I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's what. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I have a piece of that here.
Yeah, I think I have a piece of that too. From what I remember, Jeff Notkin saying is that they went to try and have it classified as a separate classification because when they had it dated differently than the regular Campo, which is why they gave it a different name. They gave it their own different name, whereas the classification doesn't. It still says it's the same.
Huh.
I also understood that it was more stable than the first Campo.
That's been the claim, yeah.
I have a piece here, Topher, if you want to see it.
Yeah, hold on one
So this is a piece that I also just got. It's a Nuevo Mercurio. Nuevo Mercurio fell December 15th, 1978. It's an H5, but while they were searching for the meteorite that had fallen in Nuevo Mercurio, they found, I believe, 3 other stones. This is one of those stones. It's really fresh, and internally it looks really different from Nuevo Mercurio.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nicely oriented.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The negative pressure on the bottom.
Yeah, look at the back. The backside's beautiful, and the backside has a bit more of a brown color to it too, as well as having the rollover lip all the way around the edge. And if you were to cut through the stone on that edge around the backside, the angle is approaching 90 degrees.
Yeah. Wow.
And that meteorite is one of the before we got all the NWA meteorites, we mostly had a few American falls, some Australian meteorites, and these from Mexico. And so they were some of the very early ones in my collection too.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow, nice.
So this is a Damascus blade that was forged with Gibeon meteorite.
Wow.
Wow. Jesus, dude.
Isn't that nice?
Do you happen to know how many layers or how many folds it has?
I have no idea.
I think it's ridiculous amount of folds just to be considered Damascus. It has to have like 5,000 folds or something like that.
Wow.
5,000 layers. That's beautiful. Look at the spiraling on top.
Yeah.
Wow. Any idea what the handle's made of?
I think it might be deer antler. I don't have the exact makeup of it, but the thing is, I'm going to visit the guy again, and I'm gonna see if he's got any more information on it.
Yeah,
definitely. Wow, that's a master craftsman piece, dude.
Absolutely.
I also just got this. It's I'm not sure if it's an Acapulcoite or a Winonaite. It's NWA 725. So it's kind of like flip-flopped in classification. I've seen papers written on it. They call it a Winonaite. And then I've seen papers on it that call it, Metbull has it listed as an Acapulcoite.
That is the largest slice of Acapulco I've ever seen, I think. If it is, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
NWA 725.
725. Yep.
Damn, that's a massive slice.
Yeah.
Thick
138 grams.
Wow.
Wow.
And I saw your Allende earlier, so I pulled mine out. It's not.
Yes.
It's a respectable size. It's like 39 grams. It'll do.
Yeah.
Wow,
Sweet.
look at the great big CAI there. There's
Yeah.
Damian and I were just chatting online about CAIs, and there's the fluffy
Yep.
type, and then there's those rounder ones. Oh, there's one in the other corner too.
No, you can't buy it, Pat.
I'm still on Meteorite timeout.
I've got
Hey, Roberto,
two more things.
Roberto, I believe I have the sister slice that Allende.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to go look again, but exactly, it's maybe the sister slice. I don't know.
Is that a diagonite?
No, this is an Aubrite.
Oh, that's the new
Oh.
NWA Aubrite.
Yeah.
Have you put a UV light to it yet? I keep asking, and nobody's done it.
I have not, Pat. I still need to. I ordered a UV light, and they stole it from my front porch.
Great.
Amazon dropped it off. They took a picture of it. They dropped it off at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I was up by like 8:30. I went outside. It wasn't there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
That's a nice
that's our
piece.
first close-up look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gal from I think she's in England has some slices.
Gemma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On meteorite tektites and pactites and ephemera.
Yeah.
She has some
Wow.
in cuts and some slices.
Hopefully we'll be able to see the slices next week, because I have one on the way from, I think, Marcin Samola. Marcin?
Marcin,
And
yes.
then-
Or Marcin.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about how we keep carbonaceous. I don't keep them really with desiccant because of, like Pat said, I don't want them drying out too much and cracking. But I do keep them in these specimen jars so that I can open them up and sniff them every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they.
Oh my God.
Super cool. That's a beauty too.
Absolutely.
Which one is that?
This is Aguas Zarcas. This is a free
Holy
range.
smack.
It's got mud stains on it from where it fell.
And beautifully oriented.
Yeah.
Yep. Roll over lip all the way
Wow.
around.
Oh, look at that.
Yep.
Splattery rollover lip. That's beautiful.
And
What's
this
the
is
what's the
free
weight on
range.
that?
This was the first piece I bought on my first trip, and I was there on day 4. But on it rained on the night of day 4. So I actually bought this before rain had even touched down. So I know for a fact, 1,000,000% this is pre-rain.
Wow.
I am in awe right now.
That is awesome.
Just so
I can't even look at my Aguas Zarcas now.
just so everyone out there in YouTube land understands what we're looking at and understands, I mean, yeah, the importance and the scientific value and the collecting value is one thing, but if you're going to throw a price tag on it,
No, that's not for sale.
you're looking at 200 plus a gram, 200 US dollars plus a gram.
Yeah.
And how many grams is that one?
I think it's 36, maybe.
Yeah. So you do the math, puppy. That's beautiful, man.
And then I recently upgraded my Thuathe. So this is a 157 gram Thuathe. And today is actually the fall anniversary of Thuathe. Thuathe fell 19 years ago.
Wow.
In where? I've never heard of it.
Lesotho. It's Africa. So basically, the one cool thing about this too is when it fell, the locals thought that it was a bad omen, so they quickly picked up the rocks and threw them off of their porches, thinking that they were evil spirits. And then a bunch of meteorite hunters went over there. They purchased a bunch of them. It's 45 kilos, I want to say, total known weight. The village ended up using the money to buy a school, and they dedicated the school, like they have a little plaque out in front of it that says paid for by the Thuathe meteorite.
That's cool.
You posted some stunning photos of a bunch of pieces.
Yeah, I just picked up about a kilo of this stuff. So
nice.
Yeah,
and the one that you posted that had the hitchhikers that had rolled around the back.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
I don't know if the zoom is going to work on these, but it's got really nice flight orientation.
Oh, yes.
Well, looks nice.
The hitchhikers are like right there.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Hitchhikers are small fragments of the rock as it's breaking up through the ablation period, coming through the atmosphere. They actually came separate and then got sucked back in and reattached upon cooling.
You see them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right there.
There's like 5-6 of them.
Yep.
Wow. Can you show us the ID card, please?
Sure. These are Lang meteorites.
Yeah.
R.A. Lang, Alan Langenreich. He's an old school meteorite hunter, dealer, collector. Bob Hagg era guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I bought some meteorites from him the first time I went to Tucson.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What show and tell you did, buddy?
All right. Now I gotta come up and send you a list, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll get busy.
Yeah, that's the only rule with sharing stuff is it has to be like meteorite related, and you have to send me a list when you're done so I can add it to the summary. Thank you, Roberto, man.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Really, really
Thank you.
beautiful stones, man. Fantastic. Like beautiful. That Aguas Zarcas is just unbelievable, just dripping with fusion crust and pre-rain all the way. Very nice.
Unbelievable.
All right, we got some more show and tell, starting with Ron, then Colin, and then Doc Brown is going to fill us in on our educational needs.
All right, so I want to go back to what Roberto was talking about with the Campo del Cielo versus Campo Las Palmas. So this right here is a piece of Las Palmas. I picked this up a couple years ago, and this came from, let me see here. Let's see, Las Palmas. This came from Robert Kuchara. Right, so you can see this is a lot different than what you would normally see as a Campo del Cielo. It's more.
It looks African.
Yeah, it does. It does. So it's got a lot of regmaglypting on it, but it's also very twisted, and it has some resemblance to a Mundrabilla as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and so this is a piece I picked. This is about 677 grams. Yeah, and I want to compare that to, and I've shown, I have a Campo del Cielo here. It's my biggest one. I've shown this before. And this is what, I got to expand my field of view here for a second. It's kind of large. All right there. It's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, this is my largest meteorite, but it's also, I think, one of my best. So
that for a Campo, that has a huge amount of character.
It does. That's what I got. This came from Aerolite.
Mm.
Bought this in Tucson. I actually beat another guy to it by about 3 seconds.
That's a beauty.
A little faster than he was. What I like is this little tail right here, and this little nose on the end. That kind of what drew me to it. But all the big cavity in there is just, I mean, it is an insane piece. It's about 4 kilos roughly.
Looks like someone scooped out a fifth of it.
Yeah, it does, but it's obviously got some kind of coating on it. too shiny. But I couldn't get over the regmaglypting. Normally with a Campo, you don't see this kind of regmaglypting. You know, they're kind of craggy, you know, shrapnel-y. So these are probably, you know, as a comparison between the two of them, there's a lot of difference. You can see that. Now on the Las Palmas, you know, Notkin he put out quite a dissertation on these things. Apparently it was 200 miles away at a different angle. The strewn field was at a different angle to the Del Cielo. So, you know, there's still an argument about are they the same thing, because they're chemically similar. So the jury's still out on this one, apparently. I keep looking for something on the Met Bowl, but can't find anything.
Wow, I would love to see another entry in there for it.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be super awesome,
Yeah,
because it does look different. And I've seen other pieces that look different as well.
Yeah, yeah, these tend to be a lot twisted. Apparently, they're a little more stable too. What I understand. I don't know that for a fact, but this has just been a kind of a neat little piece.
Before we go away from Iran, I wanted to thank you for letting me use your video that you just did. Well, last month, I guess. I just uploaded on the YouTube channel today.
Great.
So the collection, the video that Ron did is his collection of large. Well, they're not all irons. There's one cockabilly.
Yeah, there's a cockabiddy, and there's a palisade there.
The Hakita.
But
but don't say why that's special. That Hakita is special.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just how I call it.
No, it's special. But there's also some Mundrabilla, just a bunch of nice Australian irons. It's a nice 9-minute video. So thank you very much, Ron, for making that and allowing me to use it on our channel. I appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. These are a lot of fun to make, and I'm glad people are looking at them.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's nice because like someone said last week, we should charge admission. That's
not a bad idea.
Yeah, I know. Let's go to Colin. How are you, bud?
All righty. Hello. Just give me a second. I'll turn that around. There we go. I just wanted to show two things here. And the first one is an NWA XXX. It has a very interesting rollover lip there. If I can zoom out properly.
Look at that.
Yeah. It is trying to get it to focus properly, but
beautiful. Yeah, that's a very wide rollover lip.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I saw it on eBay and I was like, oh, I gotta grab that. And that's from Mirko Groll.
That's fantastic. And for those who might not know, the rollover lip is the fusion crust that's been liquefied and rolls over from the front, which is facing us right now, and actually lips over and stacks on the back side of it. Yeah, that's a beautiful little piece.
Yeah, that's really nice. And then I have this one also, which is NWA 5000 lunar dust that I found on eBay because I could never find a small slice because I guess it's rare to come by. But this is some dust from the Hoop collection or Hoope.
Yeah. Adam Hoope.
Yeah, Adam Hoope. Yep. So I just got that because that's a nice little add. I've never had lunar dust before, but from a lunar meteorite, so I thought that was neat to add to the collection there.
And I can tell you who the cutter of that was, if you'd like to know.
Sure.
His name has been mentioned on this program already tonight. Marlon Sills.
Oh,
Montana Meteorite Labs.
Yep. So yeah. So but that's super cool. The legendary lunar NWA 5000. One of the most studied lunars that we have.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. I hope to get a slice at some point as well. Like a small one or
they're out there. The slices of NWA 5000 tended to be a lot thicker than are currently cut now, and so a lot of the micros, the slices are on the order of 1/10 of an inch thick or so. So a lot of the micros look like little cubes.
Yeah. I also have one of those other that new Aubrite. I have a slice coming hopefully next week that I'll be able to show off. I think it's 6 grams. I don't have one of those UV black light flashlights or whatever you want to call them. So I may have to go to the store to look for one, because I'm also very interested in knowing if it fluoresces at all.
I could probably post for you guys on Friday.
Yes,
that'd
be good.
When you get a flashlight, I would recommend buying one off Amazon. There's a brand called Alone Fire, and there are a variety of sizes. There's one that is described as 10 watts. That's $25. You want to make sure you get one that's 365 nanometers, not 395. 395 is.
I just want to write that down. If you can say that one more time. What's the brand? Sorry.
Alone Fire.
Okay. All right. Got it.
And you want to look for 365 nanometer wavelength. And you want to get one with a filter. So the front of it, instead of looking like a clear piece of glass or plastic, it is actually a glass filter, and it looks black in visible light.
Okay.
But the combination of the proper wavelength, which is real RV, not real UV, not near UV. So 365 and the filter is the stuff.
Cool. Awesome.
I think we're all very anxious to see if that new Aubrite fluoresces. But I'm also interested in seeing just a slice of an Aubrite, because to be honest with you, the only Aubrites I know of are like Bishopville, Norton County, and you get crumbles of those, and that's part of the beauty of an Aubrite is the massive crystal structure. So it's counterintuitive to me to slice an Aubrite, to be honest with you, and not having seen a slice or have anyone that can show me a slice necessarily. I'm really dying to see what it looks like in person.
I would have shown you one, but I just shipped it out to Mike Kelly to cut for me.
Wow. Well,
yeah, even like the Norton County, I've seen like a lot of those, but I've never seen like slices of many Aubrites. I think I haven't really looked it up, but it will be really interesting. Yeah. Can't wait.
So what I found interesting about it was, I know Marcin he got a wavy cut on it, and it's probably because the crystal structure is so large. I'm intrigued to see if finish, but still, wide enough kerf standard blades actually end up with less cut loss than wire on these, just because they're a little more resistant to getting blade waviness.
And also your slow speed isomet saw is significantly different than the normal high speed saws.
Certainly, yeah. Because before a week or so ago, when those pictures of the cut slices hit Facebook, I would have never contemplated, the finished product cut loss to be better on a kerfed blade saw than a wire saw. But I mean, if you look at, I think you said like a millimeter of loss or something like that per slice, that's a lot of loss per slice.
Yeah, too much on an Aubrite, to be honest with you. I don't care how much they're finding of it. Too much. Talking about what's almost too much to take, let's check in with Doc Brown.
Not a real doctor. Your mileage may vary. No warranties expressed or implied. So Topher asked me to talk about books, and of course, books is my thing. This first bookshelf here is mostly Meteorite Tektite stuff. But the Meteorite books kind of fall into a few common sort of themes. So the first one is, the people will find the most approachable, and really the one to start with for adults is Rocks from Space. This is in a new edition, so this is a second edition. So if you're looking, especially at used bookstores, make sure you get second edition, and it's in hardback, and they've printed a bazillion copies in softback. This is the first edition, and You see that it doesn't say revised and updated, so this is what you want. And if you happen to be in Japan, you'd probably find a copy of it in Japanese, and the book opens up a different way too, but unless you're a Japanese scholar.
Our bibliophile, everyone.
And so in that theme of, you know, very approachable books, Rock is a wonderful mix of scientific information and some really good stories, but nobody tells the stories as well as Harvey Neininger. So this is one of the books, Find a Falling Star. This one was written in '72, and it's got wonderful stories about Brenham and other American falls. And then Out of the Sky, also by Neininger, and this one was written in '52. And then again, largely stories. And then, of course, the classic is Our Stone-Pelted Planet, 1933. And this was actually the first meteorite book for the educated layperson. And
Pat, let me just jump in with you on the same screen for a second. Hey,
sure.
I noticed on one of them you're saying, hey, be sure to get the updated and revised copy. And on the other ones, you're going back to 1933, 1950 something. One of the reasons for that is if you're looking for the scientific information, that's where but mainly Neininger is the storyteller.
Right, exactly.
And his stories haven't changed. So that's why his books are always in style. Right. I just wanted to bring that out in case that wasn't
right. And so, you know, Rocks from Space does talk about some of the science, but of course there are books on the science, and there's kind of 3 of them that I think are the current good stuff. So the same author as Rocks from Space are the late great Richard Norton, and his friend Lawrence Chitwood wrote this book, Field Guide to Meteors and Meteorites. This is one of the very best of the scientific books. This one was out of print and got super expensive, but it's back in print, and I think it's still available at Amazon. But this one not only has a lot of the scientific information, but really good photographs and really good color illustrations and such, and a nice piece by Lawrence Chitwood of thin sections and talking about different types of chondrules. So I highly recommend this one.
Yeah. And when he highly recommends it to people who don't have it. This was a gift from Uncle Patty to me. So when he learned I didn't have a copy, he just took note of it, and 3 days later I had a copy. So thank you.
You bet. And then this one was also by Richard Norton, is the Cambridge Encyclopedia of Meteorites. And so this really gives you a very thorough rundown of the various types of meteorites and, you know, the scientific information. This one is out of print. I bought a copy not that long ago. I think I gave $85 for, but it's part of the Cambridge Planetary Science series. So it's a very well constructed book that's going to last a long time. Kind of the third leg of the modern science books that you know, approach the whole subject is Atlas of Meteorites. Dr. Monica Grady and a couple of Italian folks. Dr. Monica Grady is the curator emeritus at the British Museum of Natural History, and this one dovetails very nicely with those other two and the kind of the big science ones. And then there are some more specialized ones. Dante Lorette and Marvin Kilgore did this color atlas of meteorites and thin sections.
Wow.
And it's mostly photographs and some very nice scientific discussion as well.
I had no idea that Kilgore was on that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then and this one is in the hardback is nearly impossible to find. I bought this one sight unseen. That was when I was living in Eastern Washington. It was supposedly in Pullman, Washington, where Washington State University is, and I hadn't got it in a couple of weeks, and I contacted the seller and said, you know, I could crawl from Pullman to Spokane. Why is the book taking so long? Oh, you misunderstood. It's coming from China. But this poor thing, the spine is torn out of it. The front board is bent. I think this came out of a trash can at a university when the rich kids were throwing away their books. But this is a super, super good textbook. It is in paperback, but the photos in the paperback version are terrible.
Yeah.
And then a couple of other specialized ones. This is Ernst Opick, Physics of Meteor Flight in the Atmosphere. And this one's been reprinted a couple of times. It is knocked down, drag out, full of formulas. And so if you're not up on your matrix algebra and calculus, I would avoid this one. Then this is another specialized one that I found very, very interesting. This is just about Chelyabinsk, and it's published by Springer, one of the big science outfits. And I think this one is currently in print, but it was expensive. I think it was $80 or $90. So those are kind of the books of note. Because meteoritics is changing so much and we're learning so much, especially from, you know, the Marslanders and from greater studies of recent meteorites, especially the carbonaceous chondrites that have fallen, all that information is too new to have made it into books. And a lot of it is pretty specialized. And so it would be for a very, very small audience. And it makes it very tough to publish a book. So one of the great sources for very current, but very, very scientific, in-depth, detailed is Meteoritics and Planetary Science, which is the journal of the Meteoritical Society. You can join the Meteoritical Society, and there's two ways to join. You can join with a paper copy of our journal or an electronic copy. And all of the latest work is published in these, you know, gory scientific detail. So,
Pat,
yes, sir.
Pat, I might interrupt you there. The Meteoritics and Planetary Science, you can join if you're retired for $55 a year, and you get that one, and then you get another one. I forget the name of it, but you get that every month, and it's only $55 a year.
Great. Okay, cool. And I think that subscription gets you an electronic access. Is that correct?
No, I get the paper copy.
Oh, you get the paper copy? I have to look into that when I renew. I'm retired too, and I think I just paid $140. But that's a really good journal, but it is pretty heavy duty in terms of the science detail.
Hey Pat, there's a new book coming out. It's not out yet, but I'm sure you know it. But it's Meteorite Mineralogy by Alan Rubin. They keep pushing the date for the damn thing. It's supposed to be out in like months ago, but it's got a lot of like mass scattered images and stuff. But it's on Amazon too. But yeah, it's not available yet. But yeah, I've been waiting to get it for like ever.
I wasn't aware of that one, but it's in the same Cambridge Planetary Science series as a lot of these others.
Yeah, a lot of those, at least in Canada, some of those books you showed are like $200. It's like,
Oh yes, these are not.
so like maybe like 150, 160 US.
Yeah, they're not inexpensive. The other area that I kind of dig deep in are chondrules and chondrites and origin of chondrules. This one is a classic by King, and the online version of this one is everywhere for free. In fact, it's hard to find a bound copy of it. I think it was written in '83. Yeah, 1983, Lunar and Planetary Science Institute. So you can find that one online. In that same Cambridge Planetary Science series, there's a really nice one that's just called Chondrules.
Wow.
That and again, these are full-on textbooks, so they're in the $100 to $150 sort of range.
Yeah,
but
I've never seen that one.
This is a really good one. This is the one that I enjoyed reading the most, Derek Sears, and he really digs deep into the origin of chondrules. And this is one that's kind of in between in time, in between Derek Sears and the King book, Chondrules in the Protoplanetary Disk.
Yeah, I'm a total book nut too, and I used to be a geologist. I can kind of understand phase diagrams still. It's been years, but I kind of like the kind of books you have, but I find them just really hard to find. Maybe it's just Canada. But
well, no, they are very hard to find, especially after they go out of print. And you know, recently there's been an explosion in the number of people collecting meteorites. When I first started in the mid to late 80s, there were very, very few people collecting meteorites. And when a meteorite book was published, they'd go through one print run, and it'd be in print for a very short period of time and then go out of print. And so I whenever I go any place, I always hit all of the used bookstores. And
would it be a pain in the ass to maybe make a list of all those books you just showed? I have about half of them, but I've never heard about the other half.
Yeah, I will. I'll
Awesome.
I'll type it up and send it to Topher.
Yeah, thanks, Pat.
I've got a couple suggestions.
Sure.
Oh, for books?
Yeah. So you went over Rocks in Space. Honestly, I think this was probably my favorite book. It inspired, I read this, and then like a week later, Aguas Zarcas fell. And that's kind of reading Hag's account of going to hunt La Criolla is kind of what like made me say, F it, I'm just gonna hop on a plane and try my hand at it. You also mentioned our stone pelted planet. So this book's I found pretty like good for like laymen. Like it's not super sciencey, but does a good job of explaining the basics.
Yeah, and heavy on photographs. Yeah, there's a few other ones that are sort of populist coffee table sort of books. Yeah.
And then I like I've been collecting a lot of US Witness Falls, and this is really like it goes through every US Witness Fall from the first one, Weston, all the way to Crescent, I think in 2016. Was Crescent 2016?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of literally has like an entry for like everyone.
Oh, that's amazing. Can you buy that somewhere?
Yeah. I got this copy at the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, but Frank Cressy is on Facebook, so you can really just message him, and I'm sure he'll be able to. I bought this one directly from Frank, and he signed it for me.
Nice.
I also wanted to talk about the Meteorite Times Magazine, because when I first started collecting, that's basically where I got all of my meteorite related information from. So basically, Meteorite Times Magazine has like back issues dating back to like 2003 or something like that. And you can read every single one for like 10 or 12 years. It's really crazy. And it's got like stories, it's got interviews with some of the biggest meteorite collectors and dealers and hunters and even scientists. It's got pictures. Meteorite Times Magazine is a great resource and it's free. So you can like go in there. You can even print them out. I printed out like 5 years worth of Meteorite Times Magazine at my old job because I don't like them. And then
Your honesty is amazing.
Yeah.
My girlfriend works for Xerox. Maybe she can do it for me.
I mean, it'd be cool. I love my binders that have my Meteorite Times Magazine. Sometimes I go back and I just like reread old ones. And I also wanted to say that so Rocks from Space is definitely a book that everybody should have. And that's like you can get that at a used book supplier online. I think I paid $3 for mine. With $3 shipping, it was like $6 delivered to my door.
But you got to make sure you get the second edition.
The second edition, yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was the Field Guide to Meteorites is actually on PDF and available online. I think I have the link to that somewhere if you guys want that.
This one, the Field Guide to Meteors and Meteorites.
Yeah,
that one. Yep.
This one right here, and it is an absolutely tremendous book. While
really
I'm
good.
Hey, buddy, sharing the screen with you. I have 3 pages that I just opened up to that are just amazing. This one here gives you this. Is this the chondrites? Yeah, this shows you chondrites, a chart of alteration of chondrites in all of them, from ordinary to carbonaceous, and how it was affected by temperature. So that is a really, really cool table. Hopefully you can see that. Next is a table that shows iron. Oh, take Vargas off. Next is one that shows the same thing for iron meteorites and how they're broken down into different classifications. And then, of course, you got to have a gallery of meteorongs. So there's a wealth of information in this. And I know that Pat did a great job showing us a lot of books and a lot of textbooks. I would, for my 2 cents, I would say this is a great intro book for people who already have a scientific knowledge or some scientific basement to build on. Because it does go through it step by step, and it's just gorgeous pictures throughout. So let me shut up for a second and see what James has to say.
Yeah, I think Norton's Rocks from Space is probably the best book for a beginner. But if you're more if you're less interested in the science but more interested in the history, this book for beginners is excellent. The Science and History of Meteorites and Why We Should Learn to Love Them. This is the American edition. There's also a British edition by the same author with a different title. It's exactly the same book, but it's got a different title.
That's awesome. And I love that you have both of them too. True bibliotech. Love it. Well, we've had a really good amount of conversation, but I'm going to have to shut everyone up for a second because we need to say goodbye to everyone on YouTube. We're going to continue talking amongst ourselves without you guys watching us. And just the video is getting too long. So we're going to end it now for everyone. So that was an awesome hangout. I really appreciate everyone showing off their stuff and sending me a message of what they showed off. That's the only way I'm going to get a complete list of those books that Pat Brown showed, because that's fantastic information. So thanks for sharing that with us. I appreciate everyone showing off stuff, and have a great week, everyone. See you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.